Luke, have I got some news for you?
What's this news, Michael?
Well, an author of a new book says it's time to break up Disney. Why? Luke, do you want to know why?
Why?
Because Disney owns too much stuff. Shall I tell you some things they own?
Firstly, who's the author of this book?
I think their name is Matt Stoller.
Well,
And also the book is Goliath, the 100-Year War between monopoly power and democracy.
Interesting. So, what stuff do Disney own, Michael?
They own Pixar, they own Marvel, they own Star Wars, they own National Geographic, and also they own a little thing called Fox. With this power, you know what happens when people have lots of power?
What happens, Michael?
They can use that to manipulate things. So they enforce all of these nonsense copyright claims, they create this artificial scarcity, so people have to go to bloody Disney Plus to watch The Mandalorian. I mean, imagine that. Also, they demand coercive terms from theatre companies, etc., etc. What do you think, Luke?
Well, I think it sounds like monopolies are bad. That's what I think it sounds like, yeah.
I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney released a film based on the board game Monopoly soon.
That was really shit.
I don't know what. What am I doing? Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films from the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke. And this week we are celebrating the release of a new Charlie's Angels film by looking at some not so new Charlie's Angels films, namely Charlie's Angels 1 and 2. The second one's called Full Throttle. Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Charlie's Angels 1?
I can tell you're really excited to do these two movies, Michael.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, and you're right, we are celebrating because these two are absolute masterpieces. So, oh god, I can't believe I'm reviewing the two Charlie's Angels movies, Michael.
It's beautiful.
What decisions in my life have led up to this moment? Anyway, so Charlie's Angels is a 2000 American action comedy film directed by MCG, also known as Joseph McGinty Nicole, and written by Ryan Rowe, Ed Solomon, and John August. It stars Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu, Bill Murray, Sam Rockwell, Tim Curry, and Kelly Lynch. So yeah, quite a lot of famous names there. It is the first installment in the Charlie's Angels film series based on the television series of the same name. And it was released, this movie, on October the 22nd, 2000. Actually, no, November the 3rd, 2000. So almost 19 years ago. And Michael, can you tell me what the budget was for Charlie's Angels?
$1 billion. No, let's go for, I don't know, 40 million?
Double it.
80 million?
93 million, yeah. Double it and add a bit more. 93, which, as you alluded to with your first guess, you expected around 40. 93 million is a lot, and I think that's because they had quite a few stars in this movie. I think that's what...
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Stars do cost a lot of money because they're really big and dense, and they burn at thousands upon thousands of degrees. And once we harness fusion energy, they'll be worth even more.
What about the box office for Charlie's Angels, Michael? How much did it make?
It must have made at least enough for them to justify a sequel. So let's go for, I don't know, it made 4 times its budget back. So that's 93 times 4 is 372 million.
I think it's a bit less than that, 93 times 4. The box office was 264 million. Actually, no, you're right. It is.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I got that wrong. My bad. But you...
it's okay. Quick maths here.
Yeah, quick maths. But you got your guess wrong, so we're even.
Yeah,
you were 100 million off. So... But again, 264 million, very decent for 2000. So yeah, and obviously, as you alluded to, it allowed them to make a sequel, Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, and I'm sure we are very glad about that. So, Michael, did you like Charlie's Angels?
I'm going to be absolutely honest with you, Luke. I was not entirely enthralled with this film.
Okay, yeah, I didn't like it, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Okay,
it was the worst thing I know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It wasn't enjoyable. I didn't have a gay old time watching it, but it was a film.
It was a film.
And with that said, do you have any nitpicks, Luke?
Yeah, I do actually. I have quite a few.
Okay, see.
So how many do you have?
I only have 2, and I think this is a case of there was so much nonsense that at some point my brain just stopped working. So,
okay.
I mean,
I have 7.
So, all right, okay. So I'll give you my 2. One of mine just made me laugh so much. One of the bodyguards in the background, bouncers, when Drew Barrymore, or is it Cameron Diaz? I'm never going to be able to remember which one's which. I think it's Cameron Diaz, actually.
They don't exactly look similar, Michael. I mean, come on.
I know, but they're both, white, and to me they all look the same. But basically, she's just doing her dancing, and the bouncers, one of them high-fives her. The other one goes to high-five her as well, and he gets left hanging, and it was... it was so funny to me. I just noticed it. And it was like literally you see, and I was like, is that the actor? Is that how the actors responded to being left hanging? But I don't know. It's just so beautiful. I love watching people get, like, he holds up his hand and then she goes to sit down. He like just puts his hand on her shoulder. Like, just, I mean, he did a good job at disguising it. Anyway, number 2, again, I hope I'm right. Drew goes to see the evil guy in the castle, and then the person like puts a gun against the back of her head, and she's like, and then they're like tying her up, and I'm thinking to myself, what if they just shot her? You've got no reason to think. They've already tried to just shoot you once before. Why do you now think they're going to leave you tied up? So that was annoying and stupid.
Yeah, well, annoying and stupid from the perspective of the bad guys. Why didn't they just shoot her?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, maybe,
and also, I mean, it's lazy writing, Luke.
Maybe Sam Rockwell wanted her to watch. Do you think about that?
What are your nitpicks, Luke?
My nitpicks, Michael. So, first off, at the beginning of the movie, when they fly out the plane, obviously, I think it's Drew Barrymore in a black suit, which is great. Yeah, she grabs the guy and obviously opens the plane door. Like, aren't other innocent people going to die? I'm pretty sure you would have killed some people. Maybe that snooty waiter as well. Maybe he's going to die, but I don't think he deserves to be killed
for being snooty.
Snooty, yeah. So.
But also, how did she open the door? Did she just open it?
Yeah.
Because you can't do that.
What?
Because, I mean, I don't know if people know this, but it's actually impossible because of the pressure on because obviously, as you know...
Please don't go into a long rant, Michael. Just
fucking... Sorry. Well, planes have pressure on them. Basically, and I remember because there was an episode of Supernatural where basically some guy opened the door and they were like, how could he have done that? There would have been thousands of pounds of pressure on that door. He must have had super ghost strength. So that was kind of their logic. And I'm going to assume that the guys in Supernatural know what they're talking about. And I would also to me, it makes sense that, yeah, there's thousands of pounds of pressure on a door in a plane, because, I mean, it's got to be, because otherwise it would just explode or something.
We together have come up with another nitpick, which is...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And also the guy gets a bomb around his chest. I mean, it was pre-9/11, obviously. I can't imagine security's that bad, though.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, they never really explain how he gets on there with a bomb.
I know. Next one. How the fuck did Lucy Liu change from a red dress to a catsuit in 20 seconds? So she's got a red dress on, and then suddenly she's walking down some stairs, I think. I can't remember. And then all of a sudden she's in this full black outfit. And it takes 20 seconds. It's where did you get that from? How did you get changed that quickly? Yeah, that's one. Next one. Why is there nobody on the bridge when Cameron Diaz and the Thin Man, they square off on that big bridge? I don't know if it's a famous bridge or not, but there's literally no traffic on there, which I find quite hard to believe. I don't know if you remember that scene.
Yeah, I mean, I do.
When they're in Indy cars.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
There's just no traffic. It's almost like it was shut down to film a movie or something. I don't know. Yeah. Next one. Don't shoot your window while you're trying to kill someone, Michael. Right? It's amateur hour.
Don't tell me what to do, Luke.
Basically, you got to clean up the crime scene, and it's harder to do that when there's blood and glass splattered everywhere. And also, it alerts the neighbours as well. It's just awful from Sam Rockwell. Just take her into a basement and shoot her. What are you doing? Yeah, stupidity.
Yeah.
And also, she managed to escape, which is something else. Next one, Lucy Liu accesses the blueprints of this castle on her laptop while driving in her car. And I'm just wondering, what's she connecting to the internet?
Magic. Yeah, she's hacking. You know what she's doing? She's hacking the air in order to get access to the internet, because anything was possible back in those days.
Yeah, technology back in the early 2000s, it can do anything, it seems.
If you can dream it, you can hack it.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s, yeah. Oh, yeah, you can just do anything on the laptop or whatever, and it's all okay. Yeah. When all of the angels are in the castle, so the henchmen decide not to shoot them and just throw axes and swords at them. What the fuck are they doing? They should all be dead. Yeah, they walk up behind Cameron Diaz and throw an axe at her. Come on, what are you...
Yeah, there's a very inconsistent utilization of the power of a gun.
Yes,
in this
indeed.
film.
And the last one, which is the one I found the most hilarious. So apparently, Sam Rockwell is desperate to search for Charlie, because obviously he thinks he killed his dad. So, Charlie, where Charlie...
There is a very good chance at some point that I'm going to get these two films confused. I can just see it happening already. But yeah.
So this is hilarious, though. So, he doesn't know where he is. He's in this castle trying to work it out. And apparently, Charlie's Cove is just a short 5-minute helicopter ride from the castle where he was staying at. It could have been anywhere in California. And it was so close to him. He could have just, gone past in his helicopter and seen it, probably. That's incredible. Also, he says he's about to torture him. He says he's going to torture him, and then he fires a rocket at his house. So whatever. But maybe he had to change plans. But yeah, that to me was just ridiculous. It's I was expecting. I was like, are they really going to have 5 minutes and then he gets to his house? But apparently they did. So there you are. Anyway, those are all my nitpicks, Michael. So yeah, I think we should get into the premise of this first.
Yes.
So Michael, obviously, and I imagine everyone knows this who's listening, that Charlie's Angels is not just a movie. It was a TV show.
It's an icon. It's an event. It's an experience.
It's based on an old TV show, this movie, like Mission Impossible was, and Charlie's Angels, Michael.
And The Fugitive was. Don't forget The Fugitive.
The Fugitive, yes. Do you know anything about the original Charlie's Angels series or not?
I don't know. Wasn't it basically it was just women Thunderbirds, because they lived on a little tropical island.
Did they?
And I think so.
I thought they lived in Los Angeles.
Maybe I am in fact confusing Thunderbirds and Charlie's Angels, because let's be honest, aesthetically they are very similar.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so this Charlie's Angels, Michael, the TV show, it had a name, or had a term to describe it, which was Jiggle TV. So obviously, it was in 1976 to 1981. So that's when the original series was on TV. And so Jiggle TV is specifically emphasizing the sex appeal of the female leads. And it is kind of genius, because you can get people saying it's empowering, or look at these women, in their fast cars, living independent lifestyles, and also you get men watching it because, you got these hot women wearing revealing clothing. It appeals to all demographics. It's incredibly smart.
Wait a minute, Luke. Are you saying that companies would market the idea of women's empowerment for material gain?
Yeah, I am. I'm making that bold claim. No, but that's the thing. You can market it that way as well. But what I'm saying is the genius of it is that also appeals to men, which is something that the latest Charlie Angels movie, which we'll talk about at the end when predicting its score, that's maybe where it won't, but maybe where it'll differ.
Has it got Melissa McCarthy, Amy Schumer?
I don't think it'll be Jiggle TV.
Empowering.
Yeah, this latest movie ain't going to be Jiggle TV. But anyway, Jiggle TV was also called Tit to Nas Television, or TNA for short. And in the 70s, the amount of sex on television increased, as did its ratings, creating social controversies and consequences, by which critics who believed that the TV series, like Charlie's Angels, had no intelligence or substance. These characterizations stem from the fact that the lead actresses frequently dressed scantily or provocatively as parts of their undercover characters, including roller derby girls, beauty pageant contestant, maid, female prisoner, or just bikini-clad in general. And the belief that their clothing was a means of attracting viewers. Jiggle TV is seen as trashy and escapist entertainment, and if you know who Farrah Fawcett is, right?
I've heard of that, but I don't really know. Tell me.
She's got a very famous poster, which I saw on Wikipedia, and I think I've seen that before. Anyway, she was in season 1 of Charlie's Angels, as one of the angels, obviously, and she once attributed the TV show's success to this fact. She said, when the show was number 3, I figured it was our acting. When it got to number 1, I decided it could only be because none of us wear a bra. So there you are. Cheryl.
Good rhyme, Luke.
Yeah, so she's self-aware of the fact that, one of the reasons why it was so successful, possibly the biggest reason, is because of the scantily clad women on the show.
I can think of a couple of reasons why it was successful.
However, that you could argue, it's cynical, and it's trashy and all that. But one of the other Charlie's Angels, Cheryl Ladd, believes the TV series was inspirational to women, despite the critics calling it a jiggle show. She notes there hadn't been a show like this on the air, with 3 powerful women who had the latest hairdos, wore the coolest clothes, and could walk around in a bikini. We were very inspirational to a lot of young women. Young women would write to us and say, I want to be like you. I want to be a cop when I grow up, and taking chances to be something else other than the acceptable school teacher or secretary. So yeah, I mean, I just kind of cringe at that paragraph, but for various reasons. Yeah, I think
mostly because it's a woman expressing her opinion, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's why. But there you go. I guess those are the two sides to the coin. One of them is it's just trashy. It's jiggle TV. The other side is no, it's empowering. But whatever the case, Charlie's Angels was incredibly successful. Got a lot of views on ABC at the time, and obviously, I think why we're talking about the premise of the original show is because this like jiggle TV, TNA television, or whatever that continues on in these two movies, which we will discuss. So yeah, that's what I just had to say about the premise. Of Charlie's Angels in general and other movies at the time, Michael. I think you've got in the early 2000s stuff like Resident Evil, Lara Croft, Elektra, Catwoman, Kill Bill, women action heroes, I guess. There was a lot of them in the early 2000s. I don't really know why that was. Maybe it was something to do with...
I think it was because of post-feminism.
Post-feminism.
Well, remember, Luke, sexism was solved by the 90s.
Okay. So, yeah. What was that thing from Pulp Fiction? Like Foxy 5?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of similar to Charlie's Angels, yeah. But, yeah, so... And obviously, right from the first scene, you have Cameron Diaz. She's in a bikini. And Lucy Liu, like, takes her helmet off in... I don't know, like a seductive...
slow motion kind of
thing. Manner, I don't know. And there's one point in the movie in which Lucy Liu, she's at the fast food joint and literally just, she bends over and the camera just focuses on her butt, just nothing else. So yeah, that is the case. And so yeah, that jiggle TV thing carries on into this movie. And yeah, do you have anything else to say on that, Michael?
You're right. It's clearly intended to cater to guys to some extent. I think it's definitely is the case. I mean, that there was this idea that feminism was over. That is like a thing that people talk about in the 90s.
Is it?
Where, yeah, basically. And obviously, I mean, this is the early 2000s, but I think it is something that you kind of saw. And also, I mean, you mentioned like you get it in films. I mean, also you get like Buffy the Vampire Slayer around this time, which I don't really know why people decided in the 90s it was over, because that was literally just after the Reagan years. You would think if they were going to say like a time when sexism was over, they'd pick like, just after second wave feminism. But, well, actually, of course, we all know that the main thing was Camille Paglia, who was a Christina Hoff Sommers type, who basically said, like, feminism is victim mentality, and that nowadays all a woman really needs to succeed is a can-do attitude, and feminism is taking that away from women by telling them they're victims. That was kind of, so Camille Paglia basically...
What year was that?
So that was in the 90s. I can't remember what her big book was, but basically I might look it up because Paglia book. I think it was Sexual Personae. Yeah. So it was in 1990. She wrote Sexual Personae. But then also, here's a fun fact actually, in 2017, she's written the book Free Women, Free Men, because women and men are free now. So that's
So was
good.
that book in 1990 famous?
Yeah, it was very famous. She got interviewed. And there was also actually another woman called Katie Royf, who basically wrote a book talking about how, like, the whole obsession with consent is like making it so women can't properly express their sexuality. And then obviously you get Christina Hoff Sommers, who's still famous today, who wrote her book like Who Stole Feminism, which is all about how namby-pamby leftist Marxists ruined feminism, and it used to be all about women doing it for themselves. And this was all like in the 90s. So
I've nailed it, Michael. You brought that up. You brought that phrase up. I think I know what started all this off. The Spice Girls.
Spice Girls. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's kind of it, yeah.
The fucking Spice Girls. They got big in 97. And what was their fucking... They had a very important song. What was it?
I tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna.
But what was the actual chorus though? It was like, you gotta get with my friends. If you wanna be my lover,
you gotta get with my friends.
That's it.
Taking is to... No, friendship lasts forever. Friendship never ends.
There you go. So there's like this girl power movement.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. Although it's probably a case of like chicken and egg thing, and, like obviously...
Well, was society ready for the Spice Girls, or did Spice Girls shape society?
Yeah, exactly. We live in a society, Luke. No, but yeah, I think that's it. So in a roundabout way, we kind of got there. Basically, during the 90s, there was this whole girl power thing, this whole like, feminists need to stop complaining because nowadays women can do anything a man can do. And then also, I mean, I don't know, you got like Legally Blonde, wasn't that in the early 2000s too? So, I mean, obviously she's not an action hero, but the whole thing there was like, yeah, she's looks like a traditional kind of woman, but also actually, I'll tell you what, the worst film ever starring Ewan McGregor. It's called Down with Love, and literally, I swear to God, this is not a lie. I just want to check.
Legally Blonde was 2001, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, so Down with Love was made in 2003, and it's about a woman who is a feminist who believes that basically marriage is bad and that women shouldn't fall in love because it makes them vulnerable. This is the actual, what's it called?
Synopsis.
Catch a Block, a journalist, vows to seduce a writer, Barbara Novak, who preaches that women do not need men to make them happy. However, he starts falling for her while carrying out his ploy. So basically the story is, there's this feminist who believes that women don't need men, women should not worry about love and getting married and things like that. And then basically this other journalist who's basically a chauvinist is like, oh, I'm going to show her by making her fall in love with me. And the basic conclusion is that she learns that actually, yeah, women do need men. So it's literally written like a story. It sounds like a story from the 60s. It's like this chauvinistic guy tries to seduce this angry feminist, and then she ends up learning that it's important to love men. So yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah, it's a crazy time, and obviously, yeah, we get this film, and yeah.
Yeah, but I do think that is what we nailed it with the girl power thing. It was the Spice Girls, and obviously Girls Aloud came after that in the early 2000s as well, just from a music perspective, and like you said, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, so all that.
Do you think Margaret Thatcher had girl power?
Yeah, that's that famous.
Do you think she effectively utilised girl power by channeling money into illegal paramilitary death squads in Northern Ireland? I don't know about that.
So we should get onto the plot now. We talked about the premise and how this movie, I guess, came to be in this era, and how Charlie's Angels and the Jiggle TV stuff, and how that was successful, and how it still affects this movie, as I give the example of Lucy Liu, and there are plenty of other examples which we'll get onto, but yeah. So let's get into
actually, I suppose one question would be, I don't know if we kind of covered this already, you covered talking about the earlier show, where you said that you kind of cringed at the idea that the earlier show was empowering to women. I do have to ask, Luke, do you think that this film is empowering to women?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Is this movie empowering to women? I'm going to say no. Because I think here's the thing. I noticed there was a pattern when watching this movie that the girls consistently, and this is the only way they can seemingly do stuff in a sneaky way, apart from just kicking somebody. Obviously, they rely so much on, I guess, entrapping men. That was what I'd used. That's the phrase. Using their sexuality to entrap men. Like you've got Lucy Liu. I think I counted like 5 times it happens. Lucy Liu when he massages Corwin right at the beginning, and then Cameron Diaz seduces Corwin. That's what's he called?
Jeremy Corbyn.
Not Jeremy Corbyn. What's he called? Tim Curry. That's Tim Curry's character.
Yeah.
At the racetrack, and then Drew Barrymore seduces Tim Curry's driver at the racetrack. She's not wearing a bra there, and yeah, they seduce the director to get fingerprints from him, and then they seduce the other director by dressing up as Lederhosen. And
Lucy Liu in a dominatrix outfit.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Never forget that.
Like, even when she's like, I guess, distracting the management by encouraging a socialist revolution, by saying the engineers do all the work and they deserve to be heard and not the management. Even when she's doing that, you're right. It is like she's a dominatrix. So even when she's got other tactics, the sexuality still comes out. So that's the thing. Like, is it empowering? I don't think so, because it basically says, oh yeah, women, they only have one tool, and basically that's it. I mean, if you're trying to seduce somebody to get like a key or to distract them, and they're gay, like, you're fucked. What are you going to do? Like, imagine that driver was gay. What's happening then? Then you get found out, and then you get caught, and then your whole operation's over. So yeah, like, it's
so what you're saying is gays are the problem with the world.
Yeah. I think. I mean, the fact is, if they did it like once, I'd be okay with it. But they do it, like I said, I think I counted 5 times, or maybe even 6 times, where they use this tactic to distract the men. Yeah, that is something that I think is an issue. And so no, I would not call this movie that empowering, to be honest.
No, yeah, at best, I would say it's neutral. Like, I mean, the best case scenario is like, you'd say, well, I mean, it's some women punching things, and that's it. But yeah, nothing about it. Anything. Yeah, you go, girl. So
yeah, you go, girl. Show off your tits. Yeah. I
mean, they were pretty hot, so I'll give them that.
Yeah, I know.
But I wouldn't say I respected them. Anyway, that was a joke for the record. Anyway, so the actual plot. on that bombshell, the actual plot. What did you... So...
Okay,
I suppose the thing about the plot, it's kind of incoherent. So yeah, I mean, you just guide me through it.
You just sounded so confused. I was like, right, I better step in here. So here's the thing, which I think is interesting right at the start of the plot. You jump right in. There's no introduction really to what's going on. There's like a quick montage. And it is kind of interesting because it assumes you know what this is all about. And I guess it was a very popular TV show and it ran like 20 years ago, so not too far back in the memory. There's a little backstory in the characters as well. Like you get like a shot of Lucy Liu riding a horse and winning a trophy, and what she called Cameron Diaz, she's in a car trying to pass her driving test. That's it. There's no real backstory apart from that. So I had to check there wasn't like a mini series before this with these characters in, because it just like immediately just cuts in. Because I remember something similar happening with Mission Impossible. Where it's like there were some characters in the movie who I believe were in the TV series beforehand. I may be mistaken on that, but it's just
I remember we talked about that.
Yeah, it seems like the way the movie starts, it seems weird that there isn't that these are the first time we've seen these characters, and there isn't another movie or TV show before this. But anyway, so go straight in there, and as for the plot, obviously they have to get a. What would they have to get back? I forget. They have to get a chip back or something.
Yeah, it's something like something which can be used for voice recognition.
Yeah, so a piece of technology that they have to use. Also, they have to get back because this bad guy Corbin's going to use it to basically...
Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn's going to use it to take over the world and spy on everybody. And so they need to get it back. And they have to check whether this company that Tim Curry runs has got it in their system, has got the software in their system. And the idea is that the villains actually purposely, Sam Rockwell actually purposely got kidnapped. The angels would help them recover the villain's software to see if they've got, their software in it. When of course they don't, because the kidnapping and any taking of the software was a fake, was staged. So then they'd get their this software from the evil guy, and also the supposedly evil guy, and they could take over the world. Or actually, it doesn't go down like that. But yeah, basically, it's quite. I don't think I explained it too well then, but basically they are basically using the angels to get something that they want. So I think that's quite clever actually. But the problem is that it's not really a mystery because it's so obvious there's going to be a twist. So there's this character Vivian Wood, like she doesn't like that they're not handing over the tech to them.
That was it.
So it's pretty obvious. It's like she goes, "Oh, we could just analyze it on our own to see if they've stolen our software, our technology." And the angels are like, "No, it's not ethical to do that." And Sam Rockwell, he's acting. He's like, "Oh, that's fine then." And Vivian Wood's like, "Yeah, okay." So it's like, okay. So it's obvious now where this is going, But the way the way the twist is executed though, I think it's quite poor. Like they should have had Drew Barrymore the first to discover the double cross. Then after that, they should have had Lucy Liu and Cameron Diaz. They had it the wrong way around. They had Lucy Liu and Cameron Diaz the first to discover.
Yeah.
So the tension should be, because then when it cuts back to Sam Rockwell and Drew Barrymore, you already know that Drew Barrymore's going to get double crossed, and obviously she's in the most vulnerable position out of all three because she's Alison Hartman. So yeah, I think that the way it's executed is poor as well, but I think it's the way they go about it, using the angels. I think that's quite a nice idea, because it's not just your standard, okay, we got to get the villain. We got to figure out his plan. It's like, the people that hired the angels are actually the bad guys. So I'll give them credit for that. I thought that was quite interesting. You got anything to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, I think there is kind of the twist in that, obviously, like, the woman's bad, and then you don't really know that the man's bad. I think, I can see how, like, it would probably have been better if, you found out on Drew Barrymore's end. Although I suppose you could say there's still the tension of, like, is she gonna, make it out alive? Although maybe that's, so like, in other words, they know that something's wrong, but is she going to be able to escape? Well, obviously, to the extent you can say that's tension, well, obviously she's going to be able to escape. I will actually say on that note, I did like how she escaped, like, or didn't die, because obviously in these films you have, like, these moments where the character gets cornered and then something stupid happens which makes you think, well, they really shouldn't have got out of that alive. Like, for example, when they're pointing a gun right at her and they're like, no, let's tie her up instead. They could have just decided to shoot her that time, but obviously this time they try and shoot her. But, she, like, does this kind of clever thing where she, well, I don't know if it was clever. I don't know to what extent it was intentional. Like, maybe it would have been more clever if they showed it being intentional. But basically, the, what's it called? Tao gets caught on a shard of glass, basically on the window pane, and she gets stays there, which I thought was pretty clever. Although it was kind of redundant, seeing as she actually fell anyway and wasn't harmed. So I guess that's stupid. She literally could have just fallen from pretty much the exact same height. But apart from all the ways they ruined it, I liked that.
Yeah, okay. No, I think the idea was good. The execution, again, was poor by the fact that it was very obvious there was going to be a twist, and how they actually executed the twist when, if you get Drew Barrymore, Sam Rockwell crosses Drew Barrymore first, then, wow, that's more interesting because you don't expect it. And obviously, she's over at his house. So, yeah, that was bad. Next, okay, we're going to talk about the whole thing about Sam Rockwell wanting to kill Charlie. So, here's the thing. I mentioned before about how
he wasn't having a good morning, clearly.
No, he wasn't. About how he was going to use this technology to take over the world, and I said it, mockingly. But he doesn't actually want to do that, which is weird. He wants to do it to do something much more stupid. And I think this whole thing about Charlie killed his father, or so he thinks. It's just so stupid. I give the plot credit for doing the old switcheroo. It's like, the people who hire the angels, they're the ones who are evil. Yeah. But then they need to use this technology specifically to kill Charlie, the boss of the angels. Not to do some other evil plot, like this tiny little thing. You did all this, you have literally unlimited power. You can spy on
unlimited power.
You can spy on anyone, know anyone's location on Earth, and this is what you go with. Maybe it's not his initial motivation, or maybe he's I can kill Charlie, then I can do a bunch of cool shit after that, but that's not really pointing out. I just think it's funny, you're gonna you've got all this, you think about this technology, Michael, that you've got on your hands, and why'd you get it? To see if this guy who you don't really know killed your dad, to see where he is so you can kill him. I think
he's saying it's a bit like in Austin Powers The Spy Who Shagged Me, when they have the time travel device and number two's hey, we can use it to play the stock market. And then what's his face is no, we should use it to go back in time and get some kind of big doomsday weapons so we can destroy the world and get money. Are you saying it's like that?
Yeah, it is like that, yes.
Oh, when are we going to do Austin Powers? That's a real question.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe when they do a fourth one, which will happen at some point. So I think that's stupid. After this point, the movie becomes a lot less fun, by the way, just because it's more action scenes, and which I'll get onto in the second one as well. It's the second one is basically the second half of this movie, just action scenes and just shitty action scenes at that, and just no real fun like the first bit. And here's a question, though, I do have to ask, because obviously the explanation is, no, Charlie didn't kill his dad. It was his dad was double-crossing the US Army, and he was killed by the Vietnamese, I believe. Or not the Americans, basically. Which is funny. It's no, he definitely wasn't killed by the Americans, guys, don't worry. The Americans, they're always the good guys. They
never kill anyone.
No, they won't kill their own. But, here's the thing. How do the angels know that Charlie was telling the truth? Maybe he lied. They don't know the guy, as is pointed out. They don't know what he looks like. They don't know anything about him. How do they know that Charlie didn't kill him? And Charlie gives the story about how, it was, it was this other guy who killed him, and he wasn't on our side, and he killed him because he was double crossing us. That's the real reason, as he's tugging on his shirt and sweating. Yeah,
it's just like The Life of Pi.
Is it? How is it like The Life of Pi?
The ending to The Life of Pi, you find out that the whole thing was actually just an analogy for his murder of somebody on a boat.
Okay, right.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how the two connect, but.
Well, because just like how he lied about murdering somebody in Life of Pi, in this film, Charlie also lied about murdering somebody by pretending that they were a double agent when actually he just killed him in cold blood.
Think about it. You're an old rich guy. You have 3 girls who literally kill people for a living, and you have them on your payroll. Is it too far-fetched to maybe think that he did actually kill Sam Rockwell's dad?
I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I think, the girls, if they're such great detectives, they should have done a bit of digging on that, perhaps, instead of just believing his word.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Silly women.
Yes. Anyway, so that's basically the plot. The girls find out that Sam Rockwell's the bad guy. They try to stop him, and that's basically the second half of the movie, and that right there is, that's it. There's nothing else more to it.
It's not very lit.
No, it is not very lit. I mean, the plot is very thin, but it does. The first half I did kind of like, because it wasn't all just action scenes and I guess just the action scenes and the girls going, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that, and I think that is what makes the first bit better. But don't worry, Michael, at the end they have a really bizarre tribute to Blink-182 in the end credits.
It's bizarre, yeah.
As we know, Blink-182, what's the band member who directed Fanatic? What's he called? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember. I mean, I actually probably would know his name, but it's not the kind of thing that I am ever going to remember offhand.
Anyway, so he's found new fame in 2019 by directing The Fanatic, one of the all-time great movies, starring John Travolta. So yeah, you got obviously the soundtrack and the end credits, and which are just like early 2000s pop punk kind of stuff, which didn't really jive with the rest of the movie. It kind of seemed, I don't know about you, Michael, just kind of seems a bit out of nowhere.
I thought that too. Like, I was thinking it kind of felt like, I mean, obviously that song is very American Pie-y. Like, it feels like kind of teenage
it's that era, isn't
comedy,
it?
That action film.
Yeah, that era of music. But there was nothing in that movie that corresponded with that. So it's part of the era, but I'm like, well, why is this in the movie? Like, why is Cameron Diaz dressed up as someone from Blink-182?
All the small things.
What's that got to do with the movie we just saw? Sam Rockwell.
Because the amount of explosions was very small.
Sam Rockwell wasn't a Blink-182 fan. At least we didn't know.
Well, you know what? It's because Blink-182 rocks well.
Okay, I guess. And then here's the thing, though, about the plot. Obviously, we have these characters, Luke Wilson and Joey from Friends, obviously Matt LeBlanc, who are dating Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu. But we don't get a resolution with them. Like, we don't know what happens with Luke Wilson. Like, Cameron Diaz is calling him while she's having a fight with Vivian Wood. But then that's it. I was expecting a scene at the end when they resolve and, it's like, oh,
and they fuck.
Maybe not that, but when they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I hung up on you or whatever, you're like, oh, it's just my job, it's very stressful. And then you can have some more humour in there, but no, there's just not that scene on the end. And we don't know what happens with Matt LeBlanc and Lucy Liu either. Nobody knows. So here's the movie is like an hour and 30 minutes. You could have easily done another couple of scenes to wrap that up.
That's what I was thinking. I wish this film was longer. That's what I was thinking.
I don't really care, but it just seems weird that there wasn't like those two scenes to wrap up those storylines which had been going on throughout the movie. It's just like they forgot about it, and obviously the movie's very short, so there's no reason not to have them in. So yeah, that was bizarre. And then I think that sums it up, I guess, plot-wise. I'll just sum it up again by saying it is a thin plot, but I guess that's what you expect, and it's quite fun in the first half, but the second half, because there's more action in it, it's just not as fun a movie, unfortunately, as we'll get onto with the action scenes, which I don't think are that good. But anyway, do you want to say anything else on the plot, Michael?
No, I think we're good.
You're good? Well, you really haven't said a lot, have you?
No, I mean, to be honest, like, the plot is very... It's like, there isn't that much to it. What there is a lot of, though, Luke, is action scenes.
Yeah.
So, you know what, this is going to be another example of where I'm going to really struggle to delineate between, like, which film was which, but I think in both films, they had so much, like, crappy, CGI like moments in the middle of flips and like when they're on vehicles and stuff, and it was just so awful.
It was.
So that
again, like, you got slow motion, a lot of kung fu stuff, which I think at one point Drew Barrymore says "Kung Fu Pa" or something. Yeah, which is just
I loved it so much. Yeah,
the most awful,
so stupid,
awful, hilarious thing ever. And here's the thing: I can't buy Drew Barrymore as an action hero. No, she just seems so frumpy, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but I can buy...
I can buy her as like a kind of down on her luck protagonist in a like rom-com.
Yeah.
Like the kind of person who like walks into an office and just slips over right in front of Christian Grey.
I can buy her as a troubled teenager with severe drug problems, but as an action hero, I don't think so. The thing is, Cameron Diaz, she looks very like athletic, doesn't she? And Lucy Liu, she's Asian, so obviously she's going to be able to do kung fu.
yeah, you're right.
Like Lucy Liu does look athletic as well. She looks like she could pull off those kicks. Drew Barrymore does not look like that. She looks like she doesn't look like she could do the kind of stuff. I can buy Cameron Diaz doing it, but I can't suspend my disbelief for Drew Barrymore doing it. I'm sorry, but in the action movie, you got obviously kicking multiple times in midair. The Matrix it influences that, I imagine. as it did around the early 2000s in action movies. And I really like the soundtrack, like the techno dance music when they're battling the Thin Man. I think that's just such early 2000s music as well. So yeah, I have to say the action scenes not that good, especially the Drew Barrymore stuff. But again, like you can't really take it seriously when she say Kung Fu Pa and then she fucking moonwalks out of the an action scene like she says she does.
The action is really stupid.
I know it is stupid, but I think they realise it's stupid, but they don't they don't realise it enough. Maybe I don't know.
No, yeah.
I
think that's basically it.
Yeah. By the way, I got this quote from Guillermo
del Toro. He's got a lot of opinions.
Yeah, that's the guy. He commented that while films like Charlie's Angels have helped to popularise the wire fu style of fighting choreography in Western films, they also served as a nail in the coffin and prompted many filmmakers to want to get back to more hard-hitting action. The moment you see Cameron Diaz flying in the air, and you know that she is incapable of flying in the air and kicking 5 guys, you realise that it is done using wires. I mean, Charlie's Angels was great, but its fighting style was almost satirical, he said.
Wow. So clearly he can't be trusted because he said Charlie's Angels was great.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I can kind of buy Cameron Diaz doing it because she does seem like she has the body type, but not Drew Barrymore. If he used Drew Barrymore, I'd agree with him 100% on that.
Also, I'm just going to say right now, I mean, the thing is, like, is there any... I mean, it almost seems like he's saying, like, that wire fu works in actual, like, Hong Kong productions, which, to be honest, I mean, it looks just as ridiculous in, like, actual East Asian Chinese films. Like, it's all, like, really serious. And I'm like, obviously they speak Chinese, but, like, I've been expecting you. Let's fight. And then, like, literally, like, it's all serious. And then suddenly they just start, like, floating across the room towards each other. Yeah. Like, this is kind of dumb. Okay. So basically, I mean, to be honest, maybe we should congratulate this film for putting
the nail in the coffin.
And not bringing it over to the West. Because imagine if, like, nowadays, instead of, like, imagine if, take a great action scene like Kingsman, and instead he just started floating around on some wires. It wouldn't really add anything, I don't think.
I know. I don't like it.
So this film is responsible for Kingsman and other very well choreographed action
But it does seem very dated for it being used in Western film because it was used around this era. And again, I think that's because of The Matrix. That's why it was popular. But yeah, I guess...
Which, of course, with The Matrix, it made sense because The Matrix was like a simulated reality. But
The Matrix makes more sense when you talk about that. But yeah, I guess, it does kind of look stupid. And obviously you referenced in East Asian films when they're like kicking 5 times before they land on the ground, it looks fucking dumb. And I mean, it does look dumb, but it's part of their culture. So you kind of...
No, we have to make fun of it. Stupid Hong Kong people. They don't know anything about Kung Fu.
You're kind of like, okay, this is what these movies are. You expect it. Which is why I guess it doesn't look as stupid as when Cameron Diaz or Drew Barrymore do it. So there you go. That's the action. Do you want to talk about the humour?
Wait, do I have anything specific to say about it? I think I did. Okay, no, like a really bad line. This is like the only thing I wanted to say. Basically, right at the start, there's like a film based on T.J. Hooker. Is that his name? Officer T.J. Hooker. And the guy who we find out is actually Cameron Diaz or Drew Barrymore. I always forget. Says, another film based on a TV show.
Yes.
And I was like, you're not funny, film. Don't do this. So yeah.
Well, the thing is, it tries to be funny. It's kind of funny. Well, I don't find it funny, but I can imagine somebody, looking at it and being like, it's kind of funny. But yeah, it just does. Like, there's missed opportunities. I felt like when Bill Murray was stuck in the castle, and the girls are trying to work out where he's at. And I think it's Lucy Liu who works it out because of the bird. Oh, maybe it's Cameron Diaz who works it out.
I think it is Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, because there's a bird that only lives in this part of the country, so that's where he is. And it'd be funny if he just saw a car driving past and says, "Oh yeah, it says Kamal Services." I don't know, something there.
Yeah.
That adds
so like suddenly just like, that would be funny. Yeah, like you should go back in time and pitch that joke. Just break into a writers' meeting and go, "I've got a joke I need to pitch," and then we would be talking about a slightly better film today.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I was expecting that joke. I've watched a bunch of comedy stuff in my life, so I was expecting that joke to come up. I was expecting Bill Murray to be like, "Oh wow, girls, you figured it out," and then says that, but that didn't happen. And there was one other incident where I was like, "Oh, they could have made a joke here, but they didn't," which I can't remember. So I think.
I think you're right. Yeah, they didn't really take full advantage of the comedic potential.
No, I don't think they did. It was, again, it wasn't. It had a sense of humour, but it wasn't really that funny. I guess they knew how ridiculous it was. some of the time, so I guess give it credit for that. But how about the comedy stylings, Michael, of Tom Green? How about that?
Yeah, Tom Green was in this film.
And his hilarious The Chad moments.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's one thing people called Chad are famous for, it's not being able to get with girls.
Ah, yes.
Although he can get with girls, actually. They just don't want to stay with him, so maybe that is quite chatty.
Yeah. Do you know why he was in the movie?
Because he had sex with the director.
No.
Because he was in the smash hit Freddy Got... Actually, I think Freddy Got Fingered was like after this. Maybe that's a lie.
Yeah, that was after, I think, because in 1994, in 1999, not 1994. In 1999, Drew Barrymore began dating Tom Green.
That's crazy.
And she and Tom Green were engaged in July 2000 and married a year later. Together, they starred in Charlie's Angels and Green's directorial film debut, Freddy Got Fingered. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Drew Barrymore and Tom Green, who'd have thought? That's just, I guess it was, well known at the time, but just looking back on it, it's quite funny. But Tom...
They divorced in 2002.
Yeah, it says here, Green filed for divorce in December 2001. Yeah. Less than a year later, after marrying, or literally a few months after marrying, they filed for divorce. So that didn't last long for Tom Green. Remember Tom Green, Michael?
Yeah, well, I don't really. I mean, I always remember the Eminem line.
It's okay for Tom Green to hunt a dead moose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's the line.
No, yeah, it is that. I was trying to remember the actual run-up into it. It's not about, it's no worse than what's going on in your parents' bedrooms. Sometimes I wanted to get on TV and just let loose, and I can't. But it's cool for Tom Green to hump a dead moose. That's it, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, another classic dating of this movie. It's Tom Green's appearance in it, along with the music and all of that. So, yeah, that's great. I guess, shall we move on now, Michael, to a story, story time, which I found hilarious.
Rogue One, a Charlie's Angels story.
At the time, so it's from the set of Charlie's Angels, and I'm sure you will love this as much as I did. So let me just take a sip of water before I begin.
Okay, I'll take a sip of water too. So I can do a spit take based on how shocking this story will be.
That's good water. So it's about Lucy Liu and Bill Murray. So, by the way, talking about comedy, Bill Murray wasn't that funny in this either, which is a shame, because he is quite funny most of the time. But anyway, Lucy Liu and Bill Murray. People's Magazine had already reported that the two butted heads on the set of Charlie's Angels, and there was a major altercation on set as Murray loudly complained about Liu's acting techniques, and Liu fired back, causing fellow actors, including Drew Barrymore and Cameron Diaz, to flee for their trailers and for shooting to cease for the day. Well, it appears this was one major delicate euphemism. What actually transpired was much more intense. Bill Murray stopped a scene in progress and pointed to Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, and Lucy Liu, saying in order, "I get why you're here, and you've got talent. But what in the hell are you doing here? You can't act." At that, Lucy Liu blew her lid and attacked Murray, wildly throwing punches. The actors had to be separated to opposite corners of the room while they lobbied verbal hand grenades at each other. With a Columbia Pictures gun to their heads, both actors would publicly downplay the incident, but insiders knew better. Bill Murray would not do any sequel with Liu attached and was subsequently replaced by Bernie Mac, as we saw. So that if you wondered why Bernie Mac replaced Bill Murray, well, that's why.
Okay.
And I just find it hilarious that Bill Murray would take this movie this seriously. Like, you can't act like they're in some Oscar-winning
do you know what's really funny about this? Because this film, of course, was directed by, what's his name? McGee.
Yeah, McGee.
But McGee also directed Terminator Salvation. Famous for Christian Bale. You're fucking amateur. I thought you were supposed to be a professional. Oh, good. I'm glad you sorted out the lighting. It's no good now, is it? Fuck's sake, man. Do you remember that?
No, I do think I remember that, but I haven't.
He's like, when you're sorting out the lighting, do I start acting in front of you? No, because it's distracting when you're trying to do something. So clearly, this is obviously the big reveal then. So then you get the guy in the back. He's like, I was trying to sort out the lights. He's like, oh, good. Well, it's fucking useless now. The take's been ruined. Okay. Anyway, for some reason, I don't really know why he sounded so English in that, because apparently he's Welsh. Maybe Welsh people when they're angry. Because let's be honest, Welsh is not a very angry accent. So, anyway, but...
Yeah, do you find
that
story...
So basically, the point being, Tim McGee, I don't know why I said Tim McGee. McGee is clearly some kind of instigator. Like, that's obviously it. He must just do something that makes people angry around him. And that's why they have so many outbursts.
Or his sets are so mismanaged and fucked up that actors naturally get angry and annoyed.
I don't know. Based on the quality of all the films he's made, it seems unlikely that could be the case.
Wow. So yeah, that's it for that story. I thought you'd enjoy it.
Oh yeah, it is funny.
Yeah. So do you have anything else to say, Michael?
No.
No?
Nothing.
Shall we conclude on Charlie's Angels then?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to go first?
Yeah. So this film, it's not good. I would say it's worse than Tomb Raider. I would say it's worse than, like, for example, Ghostbusters. In fact, I would say it's about on the same level as, like, Roadhouse. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think, like, Roadhouse. I'm gonna say it's worse than Roadhouse. Because Roadhouse was kind of at least charmingly ridiculous. This film, I mean, there's nothing charming about it. Like, you can laugh at it, and there are, like, stupid moments in it that you can get some enjoyment about it. But yeah, it's not, like, enjoyable in a more substantial sense. So I'm going to put it below Roadhouse and above Death Note. Yeah, that's fine. So,
wow,
which is quite low in the grand scheme of things.
No, that is quite low. Wow. So I'm not going to be as harsh on this movie as you, but you're not going to be as harsh on this movie as Roger Ebert. Okay, so I was saving this, Michael. I was saving this. Right. So Roger, do you know what Roger Ebert gave this out of 4?
He gave it a 7. No, he gave it. I mean, I guess a 0 would be the big shock. So I guess I'm just going to guess 0.
0.5.
Okay, 0.5.
0.5. Yeah. And you know he gave number 2 a 2.5.
Oh wow, that's weird.
Yeah, it is. So can I just read you your review? His review of Charlie's Angels, because I think that people have said, like, this is his harshest review ever for a movie. And here we go. Charlie's Angels is eye candy for the blind. It's a movie without a brain. What?
I laughed.
Oh, okay. You sound very echoey, by the way.
Yeah, it's because I kind of leaned back a lot, and now I can't get up.
I can't get up.
Continue the review, Luke.
Which belong to Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu. This movie is a dead zone in their lives and mine. What is it? A satire? Of what? Satires, I guess. It makes fun of movies that want to make fun of movies like this. It's an all-girl series of mindless action scenes. Its basic shot consists of Natalie, Dylan, and Alex running desperately towards the camera before a huge explosion lifts them off their feet and hurls them far through the air, but they survive with injuries only to their makeup. Why, am I asking, is this funny? I am thinking hard. So much money and effort was spent on these explosions that somebody must have been convinced they had a purpose, but try as I might, I cannot see them as anything other than action without purpose. Humour, excitement, or entertainment. The movie will be familiar to anyone who ever watched the original TV show. I never watched the show, but the plot was familiar even to me. Barrymore, Diaz, and Liu represent redhead, blonde, and brunette retrospectively. Or, as my colleague David Polland has pointed out, T, A, and hair. Get it?
T, A, and hair.
As in there's T, like that's the T. A, as in fucking A, and hair, as in get out of hair.
Tits, ass, and hair, I believe.
Got you.
Yeah. Sad, isn't it, that 3 such intelligent, charming, and talented actresses could be reduced to the most prominent component parts, and voluntarily too. At the top of their career, they chose to make this movie. Barrymore even produced it. They volunteered for what lesser talents are reduced to doing. The cast also contains Bill Murray, who likes to appear unbilled in a lot of his movies, picked the wrong one to shelve that policy. He is a winsome, cherubic, and loopy as usual, but the movie gives him nothing to push against. There's the curious feeling he's playing to himself. Sam Rockwell plays a kidnapped millionaire, Tim Curry plays a villain, and why go on? In the months to come, there'll be several movies based on popular video games, including one about Tomb Raiders and its digital babe, Lara Croft. Charlie's Angels is like the trailer for a video game movie, lacking only the video game and the movie. So that is his review. That is extremely harsh. And I'm just looking at some of these comments, and it's like somebody was like, this review is probably the one I most disagree with. I don't care much for the movie, it's fun, but too disposable to dwell on more than a few minutes. In his review of the sequel, even Roger admits his half-a-star review was way too low, and he must have been in a really cranky mood. So there you are. I mean, and yeah, other people just saying, I don't want to see where Ebert's coming from. And someone at the bottom of the comment section says, best thing to come out of this movie easily is Murray making Lucy Liu cry on set, lol. which made me look it up to see what happened.
Okay, yeah,
and
that's funny.
That's where I got the story. So yeah, thank you
for that guy for your meanness.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, Roger Ebert, I just thought I'd point that out because it was incredibly harsh, and I was just surprised when I saw it got 0.5 out of 4, because it's got like a decent score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like in the 60s, I think. So when I saw that and his review on the Wikipedia page, I was like, right, I got to see this. What's he said about this? Anyway, I'll just sum up quickly on Charlie's Angels 2000. I don't think it's as stupid as Lara Croft Tomb Raider, for instance, like you said, because I remember that movie was truly fucking dumb. I think, it's kind of funny, especially like the first half it's fine, and then the second half it just gets boring. Like the first half it's like, it's okay, I'm kind of enjoying what's going on, I get the shtick, and, it's ridiculous, but whatever, it's not the worst thing I've ever watched, and I don't think it's that offensively bad. So that's the best I can say about it, really. But obviously, Michael, I have to give a review of this movie. So where am I going to put it? That is the question. I think probably maybe 4 out of 10. That seems right. Yeah, 4 out of 10. Again, like 4 out of 10 for me. I think it's basically, it's bad, but it's not that bad. So that's it for me. 4 out of 10. So there. We're done with that one.
So next, we get to look at Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle. Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about that?
Sure thing, Michael. So, Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle is a 2003 action comedy film directed by McGee, written by John August, and Cormac and Marion Wibberley. It is a sequel to 2000's Charlie's Angels, and the second installment in the Charlie's Angels film series, which is a continuation of the story that began with the television series. It's an ensemble cast featuring Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu, who reprised their roles. It also features Bruce Willis, Demi Moore, Carrie Fisher, Shia Labeouf, Robert Patrick, Crispin Glover, Justin Theroux, Melissa McCarthy, Matt LeBlanc, Luke Wilson, John Cleese, and Bernie Mac. A lot of people who are quite famous there in this movie, which is
Shia Labeouf,
which is quite incredible. Yeah, Shia LaBeouf, who's did you actually see his acting in the last scene?
Last scene?
Yeah, the last scene of the movie.
When he's like, blah, blah, killed my dad. Is that a scene? Or am I thinking of a different...
Well,
way earlier on?
That is a scene, but when he's on the red carpet.
I did see it.
He just looks so confused. Like, you should... I mean, you're never probably going to go back and watch this.
When was this in relation to Even Stevens? That's the question.
I don't know.
Remember Even Stevens?
I do remember Even Stevens, Michael. Yeah. By the way, John Forsythe reprised his role as Charlie's voice from the series and previous film For the Last Time, and it was his final film role before his retirement and his death in 2010. And what a great last film to have your name associated with. Yes, fantastic.
By the way, Even Stevens was 2000 to 2003, so there we go.
He's just in it then. So it was released on June the 27th, 2003, so just over 16 years ago. And can you tell me, Michael, what the budget was for Charlie's Angels Full Throttle?
I'm just going to guess it was exactly the same as the last time, although I can't remember what it was last time. So I'm going to go for 90 million.
120. How much do you think they had to pay Bruce Willis for that 5-minute cameo? It's not even 5 minutes, it's 2 minutes.
At least a shiny penny piece.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So, 120 million budget for fucking this movie. That's incredible. That's actually incredible. That's like, this is into the 50 Shades of Grey territory.
No, yeah.
I mean, you do have action scenes that does cost more, but remember, it was like 50 Shades of
that was like
darker,
39 million.
Which was like 55 million, yeah. Which,
Yeah,
which was just, how the fuck did they spend that much on that movie? This, again, 120 million on this movie. Wow. Can you tell me the box office, Michael?
I'm going to guess it made 190 million.
190? A bit more.
I don't think they made as much.
259 million.
That's close to what they made last time.
Yeah, was it? What was last time? Wasn't it like 264?
It was like 264,
yeah. So very similar to last time. But interestingly, it was number one at the box office for the weekend it was released, which just goes to show that maybe Martin Scorsese is wrong, and movies nowadays are actually better than the ones. Because if this is the highest grossing movie in the middle of summer in 2003, then Jesus Christ. And anyway, we'll get on to what we think of the movie now, Michael. So did you like Charlie's Angels Full Throttle?
I didn't like Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. Did you like Charlie's Angels Full Throttle?
No, I did not, no.
Okay, so do you have any nitpicks?
Yes, I do. How many do you have?
So I've only got 2 again.
Wow.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. I have...
4 for 2, actually.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like last time, and I have a lit pick.
Okay, I've got a lit pick too, actually.
Oh my god.
That's funny. Yeah, okay, so number 1, they weren't wearing anything to avoid corrupting the crime scene when they go into the crime scene. Obviously, if you've ever seen like forensic people at a crime scene, or wearing like hazmat suits because they don't want to leave their DNA all over the crime scene. In this version, they just show up in the crime scene and they're, just dressed like normal people. And then number 2, the skinny, I don't know, who's the guy? So the guy who gets stabbed and then the bad guy, they both survive the fall off of the building. So obviously the guy gets stabbed and he falls off the building, and then the other guy gets thrown off the building and then gets stabbed. So really they both survive being stabbed and thrown off the building. And then obviously, they're both alive at the end of it. But then they both die afterwards. So yeah, it's just the fact they didn't die in the first place was stupid.
Yeah. So that's right. So one of my nitpicks was about how this guy O'Grady was released from prison after 8 years for all the murders he did. But I realised later on they said that he was released. So I assume it was one of the guys who was evil. I can't remember the guy who they rescued from that Mongolian place right at the beginning of the movie.
That dude. I don't know what was his name. He was English.
That's U.S. Marshal Ray Carter. So he was a bad guy. So I assume if he's a U.S. Marshal, he has the power to release someone like O'Grady to get the ring. So that's not a nitpick because they actually explained it later. Anyway, so onto my nitpicks. Fucking hell, Justin Theroux's Irish accent. Wow, that is a bad accent. Like that is.
Oh, it's the worst Irish accent I've ever heard.
Yeah, because you did that last week, didn't you? Yeah, but he says pain. There's this line where he's talking about, I'm going to make all your friends feel pain. And the way he says pain, he says it like pian.
Oh, I'm going to make all your friends feel pain.
It's like, your friends are going to all feel pian.
Pian.
It's like pian. Like, he can't say words in immediately from when he first started talking. I was like, okay, this guy isn't Irish. I don't know why you would do that accent. Just be American.
Yeah, because, fun fact, Irish Americans don't speak with Irish accents.
Yeah, Irish Americans don't speak with Irish accents. Like you said, Michael, you can be part of the Irish mob.
They just speak like Boston people.
Yeah, you can just be from Boston. Why try and do an accent which you clearly can't do? Just terrible. Anyway, Matt LeBlanc, why does he have Lucy Liu's lederhosen outfit from the first movie randomly next to him when talking to Lucy Liu's father?
To be honest, if I had anything that Lucy Liu had ever worn in her life, I'd carry it with me everywhere.
Wow. Bit creepy, not gonna lie.
Especially if her feet had touched her.
Okay. Next one. Is there any chance that in the 1950s the authorities would have let Bernie Mac's family adopt Bill Murray in South Central LA? Any chance of that happening, Michael?
Well, maybe there's no chance.
No chance. Next one. Where did Bosley get all those kids?
From the local orphanage.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you'd find that one more funny, to be honest, than just...
No, I agree. I mean, I actually kind of did think about that too. Maybe the kids were actually... Well, no, that makes no sense. Maybe the kids actually were trying to go to school, but then why would... No, yeah, it makes no sense. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's got an infinite supply of them somewhere. He's got like a kid guy, a dealer.
All right, okay. How the...
Human trafficking.
Well, I mean, it's Hollywood.
It's a serious issue, Luke.
Yeah, it's Hollywood, so, maybe not the most absurd idea.
From Jeffrey Epstein.
How did Drew Barrymore get to that observatory tower? Was my next one. Just a simple one. She's in Mexico, and then
Jeffrey Epstein
gave
her a lift on his Lolita Express.
Yeah, on his plane. Yeah, okay, makes sense. And why does Demi Moore make sure to? Why doesn't Demi Moore make sure to finish the job by shooting all of the angels? She shoots them in the chest, and she sees them all lying on the ground, but there's no blood. Maybe she just goes up to them and shoots them in the head to make sure they all die. Maybe that's something I do. But then again, I'm not a member of Charlie's Angels.
So. And unlike all your other nitpicks, that can't be explained by Jeffrey Epstein.
No, it can't, unfortunately. So what is your lit pick then, Michael?
So my lit pick, I would be surprised if this is your one, because I was like, hey Luke, we should have reviewed Terminator because Terminator Dark Fate is coming out. I only actually found out literally today that there is in fact a Charlie's Angels film coming out. I had no idea why you wanted us to review this film, but
well, you had no idea.
I didn't know, which is kind of funny because you didn't know until very recently there was a Terminator film coming out. So apparently we're both getting very different advertising.
Yeah, but I knew
and the advertising you're getting is the kind of advertising for people who like Charlie's Angels.
No, I'll clarify. I didn't know there was a Charlie's Angels movie coming out until you asked me, because Kingsman was meant to be coming out on this weekend.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I had to look up, what movie's coming out this weekend, and it was Charlie's Angels, so that's why I decided on these two. I didn't get an advert for it, yeah.
Anyway, so it's relevant because the guy who plays Ray Carter is also the guy who plays the T-1000 in Terminator 2.
Ah, okay. Nice lip pick there. Nice, but again, like you said...
So it's like we're reviewing a Terminator film anyway.
Yeah, you wanted to do Terminator, but like I said before, we're never ever going to get the chance to review Charlie's Angels movies again.
What about when they make a sequel for the new upcoming film?
Oh, well, then we'll have to do the first one then, you know?
I'm going to kill myself if we do that, Luke.
Well, okay, well, at the end we'll watch the... I assume you haven't seen the trailer.
No, I haven't.
You can watch the trailer and we can predict the 2019 one. Anyway.
What's your lip pick?
My lip pick is... I don't know if this was a conscious choice, but when Dylan, or Drew Barrymore, is fighting the Irish, sailors, do you remember what T-shirt she's wearing?
No.
She's wearing a T-shirt with a British flag on it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm like, well, I kind of like that if it was intentional, like, hey, the British fighting the Irish.
It would have been funnier if she was killing them with a bunch of mouldy potatoes.
But I was like, oh, they've put the Good Friday Agreement, the geopolitical situation with Northern Ireland and Britain into this movie. They've made a nice reference to that. So guess what? I'm going to say that's a lip pick. So I assume.
I agree.
I mean, maybe it wasn't intentional, but I mean, you have to why the flag of Britain? She's not from Britain. They don't go to Britain. Why else would she be wearing that while she was fighting the Irish?
So basically, you would say the same thing if they were fighting a bunch of Palestinians and she was wearing an Israel T-shirt. that would be like a bit more on the nose, to be honest. Anyway, I'm going to make an action film and just have that be like, what's with the bit where Drew Barrymore beat up a bunch of Palestinian kids? Like some Palestinian kids, like at the end of the action scene, these Palestinian kids come in and start throwing rocks, and she just like shoots them. Anyway,
fucking Cameron Diaz does that kung fu thing, kicks 5 of them at the same time.
Yeah. Oh boy. Anyway, so yeah, the plot. So okay, I'll say this about. No, I don't really know where to start the plot because, like you say, this film, you said yourself, it's like the second half of the first film, as in it's just action. I mean, and the thing is, I genuinely would even kind of struggle to tell you what the plot was. I think so. There's these rings.
Yeah,
and the rings.
Well, we'll get onto the rings, but I just want to start out, I guess, with the
Irish guy.
Well, no, with the overall thing. Because here's the thing: there's a difference between the first and the second movie in terms of what the Angels are doing. So in the first movie, they're basically private investigators working in LA. Now in the next one, they're international espionage agents, basically.
Oh yeah, that's stupid too.
They're going to Mongolia to rescue the U.S. Marshal instead of like the CIA or Special Forces or whatever. So it's kind of like Fast and Furious. So where you start off with like some car mechanics, and then you build it up until Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson, Tyrese Gibson are stopping nuclear wars between Russia and the United States. But here's the thing, I think it's better in this one because at least the girls in this one are more skillful compared to like Tyrese Gibson. For instance, like, Lucy Liu can actually pull off some good fighting skills instead of just driving a car real fast. So I think that's that's a plus for the girls doing the Fast and Furious thing. But it's just that we can't just have them be private investigators. They got to now work for the US government.
See, here's the thing. I genuinely think that actually Charlie's Angels, insofar as I understand it, would be better suited for a TV show. Because you think, like, basically, I mean, if I were to kind of guess what Charlie's Angels is supposed to be about based on these two films, I would guess that what they're supposed to be is private investigators who specialize in kidnapping. That's kind of the implication I got. Like, it's like, hey, if somebody's been kidnapped and the police aren't helping you, then come to us and we'll help the kidnapped person. That was kind of my thoughts. I mean, maybe it just so happens that in both of these films, it starts off with them rescuing a kidnapped person. I don't know. But obviously then in that context, you think, well, just have little 45-minute TV shows where it's like, help me, my friend's been kidnapped. Don't worry, we'll help. But yeah, like the idea of, having it as a film, I just think it doesn't really work because there's not much you can do in terms of the plot. It's like if they made a film based on the Rockford Files. Who'd want to see that, Luke?
Yeah.
You?
No, I don't think I would. Yeah, no, you're right. It does. I mean, like, here's the thing: the plot, it's inherently going to be shit because you can't really make something interesting in an hour and a half with like these three private investigators. An action comedy film. Like, it's not really going to be that entertaining. And I guess obviously the movie relies on the star power of like Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu and Drew Barrymore, and obviously, the fact that Charlie's Angels is a famous product. But if you just came up with this movie on the fly, then I don't think it would work. Yeah. Do you agree?
Okay, Luke, do you want to hear something really embarrassing?
What?
They actually made 8 films for the Rockford Files in the late 90s.
What do you mean 8 films?
They made, so the titles are I Still Love LA, Jim Rockford Investigates a Carjacking That Led to Murder, and then there's A Blessing in Disguise, If the Frame Fits, Godfather Knows Best. Apparently, okay, so actually no, they're TV movies. So, okay, I see now. They were on
that's
CBS.
A bit of a difference, yeah.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Still, they were technically movies, so look who looks like an idiot now. But yeah, I agree, like basically you can't really have... It feels like one of those things, like the idea of the show feels kind of small, because like you say, they aren't really supposed to be like these big international agents. So, I mean, ironically, Rush Hour would actually be a perfect plot for Charlie's Angels, because it's literally about somebody who gets kidnapped and they have to rescue them. So maybe instead of Charlie's Angels, we should have just reviewed Rush Hour. But
Never.
I love Rush Hour. Anyway, but ultimately, yeah, I mean, in terms of the overall plot, there really isn't that much. There's just like things that happen, but there's no real purpose to it.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we'll get on to the actual plot, but I just want to say first off, Bosley, it's now Bernie Mac, and obviously he's the brother of Bill Murray. I don't know why you just don't get another guy and his code name is Bosley.
Yeah.
Like that seems to be the smartest thing apart from having the brother, be
Or you could just have somebody not called Bosley. I mean, like, I
No,
assume
it
that
has to
Charlie's
be
Angels fans
Bosley.
would be very upset, but...
It has to be Bosley, goddammit. You think Charlie should change and become Freddy? No.
Yeah, you're right, actually, yeah.
He's just...
Imagine it's just like, good morning, Trevor.
Okay. Also, yeah, he's just doing Bernie Mac stuff, basically. And here's the thing, though, Michael. I've got a question for you. Why does this Bosley character exist in the first place?
He's like Lady Penelope in Thunderbirds.
It seems he's like a pimp, but obviously the girls, they are fighting crime.
He's a fighting pimp.
Yeah, a fighting pimp. See, maybe in the original show you just had to have a man in charge of the operation, maybe.
They had 2 men in charge, apparently.
Well, yeah, 2 men in charge.
He's like the mouth of Sauron, and Charlie is Sauron.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't see why this character needs to exist, really. But there you are. He's there. So I think we should get onto the plot anyway now, Michael. And what did you say when you started talking about the plot? About the rings?
I didn't really say much about them, apart from there are rings, and I don't really, I mean... What do they do?
What happened, Michael? No, you tell me what happened.
So the rings are like, the Irish guy... No, the... What's his name? Parker? No, what's his actual name? I need to look this up. Ray Carter, that's it. Wants the rings.
This is the US Marshal, right?
Yeah, he wants the rings so that... There's 3 rings? No, there's just 2. There's 2 rings.
There's 2 rings.
And those rings enable him to... They're like special because of their properties.
Yeah, no, that
What do they...
Okay, I can see you've paid a bunch of attention to this movie.
What do the rings do in Charlie's
They allow
Angels?
people. They allow the authorities to see people who have been hidden under the FBI's witness protection scheme. They allow to see where they actually are residing.
Yes, somebody mentioned the witness protection scheme.
No, but
who was it who mentioned the witness protection scheme?
Here's the thing, Michael.
It was I remember what it was, because it was the bit with the video, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I remember now.
I can understand you not following the plot, because I was having struggles as well, because I'm like, wait, they're surfing 1 minute, then they're riding motorcycles the next. I was like, wait, how did they get from here to there? Why?
Yeah, I have no idea why they... Like, I genuinely... I don't think I have any idea why anything happened. Like, I have no idea why they were riding those motorcycles.
They spent
in
like 10 seconds.
I just remember at one point they were like, Coal Alley Park or something like that. And then literally the next thing you see, they're like driving around some coal. And at one point somebody crashes into a wall and dies in a huge flaming wreckage.
Yeah, that happens. Well, that's the thing. Like, they spend like 10 seconds on the plot and they say it really quickly. And they just move on to the next thing. And I'm sitting here like, wait, what happened just then? Why are they at this place? Because apparently, I think there was a leaflet under the guy's car that said Coal Alley Park, and so they just assumed, that's where he's going next. He's not going there 2 days.
Oh, yeah, because she hid under their car. She hid under his car.
Yeah, she hit. Who was it? I think it was Lucy Liu and Drew Barrymore. They hit under the assassin's car. So yeah, again, that's just like, okay, I figured it out.
And how did they find out he was a surfer? There was like a credit card on the wax.
Yeah.
There was wax from a
surfboard, and they figured out.
Yeah, she was like, here's some wax. The wax comes from the surfer I guess he like had his credit card out for some reason or something, and like the wax fell off the credit card. I don't know.
It's meant to show that they've got amazing powers of deduction, because they can work out instantly he's a surfer. But some of the mystery is actually finding out who's done it. And so if you get rid of that right away, then it's like, okay, well, I guess, the mystery, the intrigue of, what happened here? Well, that's done and dusted, and we're just moving on. Like, you're not actually concentrating on what's going on here, or what could be something that is quite interesting to the audience, like mysteries often are. But no, it's just like, we figured it out already. Let's just go on to the next scene, as they do, and they, then they go dirt biking, and then after that, the Thin Man shows up and fucking bites someone's hair or rips someone's hair off, and then I don't get it.
It's like screaming.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, obviously they work out that the US Marshal is part of O'Grady, which is the Irish mob guy, his scheme.
Yeah.
After seeing him return Bosley's keys, without any pain, since earlier, he had broken ribs. But why did he say if he had broken ribs if he didn't? Just such a weird thing to claim.
Unnecessary lie.
Yeah, I know, it's completely unnecessary. And here's the thing. I was like, wait, so why did... Obviously, it's revealed that Demi Moore is behind it all, and Demi Moore is the...
Yeah, sorry, that was really obvious to me, because they're like, meet her, and there's no reason why they meet her at all, and I was like, well, obviously she's going to be, like, evil.
Yeah, obviously she's going to be evil.
Or, like, the only other thing I was thinking is, like, maybe, at some point I was thinking, like, maybe she's going to be the expert they go to see, but then eventually, like, enough time passed in the film, where I was like, okay, she's clearly not going to be, like, the expert they need to go see. She's going to be the bad guy.
So this is from the Wikipedia page, by the way. Following Carter... the two witnesses, which is Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu, see him being shot to death by Madison. And it just says, which I found funny, the true mastermind behind all of this. And that's the thing, like, Wikipedia just says that, and it's like, Wikipedia couldn't even decipher what the hell was going on with this plot. What the hell happened to lead her to shoot him? And I'm sure I could work it out, but I just don't have the energy to. And, like, Lucy, I think it's Lucy Liu, she gives a 10-sec, once the Carter guy walks out of the room, she gives a 10-second talk about what's going on, and it's like she says it so quickly, and I'm like, wait, what's going on here? How have you worked this out? And I couldn't be bothered to rewind it and go back. So there you have it. It's unnecessarily complicated. And that's the thing, they don't spend any, like, it could have been like a good 2-minute scene where they go, wait a minute, and then they slowly figure it out. But it's just instantly, like they did in the at the beginning of the movie when they were in the house and they find out there was a surfer who killed this guy who was in witness protection. It's like immediately they figure it out, and it's not interesting for the audience. And I don't know.
They're bloody Mary Sues.
They're Mary Sue. They are the definition of Mary Sues, Michael. There is no one more Mary Sue than Cameron Diaz. She literally survives a car crash in this movie, which should have killed her like 10 times over. So yeah, I mean, Wikipedia. Like, I just found that funny. I went to the Wikipedia page to say, okay, can I make sense of this? Can I work out what happened? Because I'm confused. Hopefully Wikipedia will just spell it out for me. But it literally says, Madison, the true mastermind behind all of this. Wikipedia doesn't even want to explain this, Michael. So there you are. That's the plot of the movie. And then she's the bad guy. But before we talk about the ending, we need to talk about... I think this is a historic moment right here. I think in this movie, it is we see and we experience perhaps the shortest character arc in movie history, and that's with Drew Barrymore. So, do you know what I'm talking about?
Like the fact that she decides she doesn't want to... So, wait, is Drew Barrymore the one who might be about to get married?
Are you fucking dumb?
No, okay, I got this. So, Cameron Diaz is the one who's about to get married. Drew Barrymore, isn't it like she's like worried about being on her own? Yeah, okay, yeah, she goes off on her own. Yeah, I remember now. She goes off on her own, and then like some woman meets her.
Yes.
And she's like, you don't want to be on your own. You want to be with your friends. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to go be with my friends. Yeah, I do remember now.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like literally 10 minutes goes by and she goes from quitting her job, like I'm never going to see these girls again, to going back to the girls, and she realises Demi Moore is behind it all. It just happens so quickly. I couldn't believe it. She's like, she's walking away from the group. She smiles at the picture. She's like, I don't want to endanger them. And then she gets...
she leaves because she doesn't want to endanger them.
Yeah,
I remember now.
Yeah. Then she gets a talk to by one of the former angels who was in the original TV show, and then she's like, oh yeah, I'm back. And the time elapse is literally like 10 minutes. Like I say, it might be the shortest character arc in movie history. I am going to make that claim. I don't think anybody's gone from, oh wow, I need to... it reminds me actually of Superman v Batman or Batman v Superman rather, where Superman is in Congress. He gets Congress blows up, obviously, and he realizes, I can't do this anymore. I'm a danger to people or whatever. And then he has a talk with his father, who's dead, obviously, but it's the ghost of his father. And then 5 minutes later, he's back at it, saving the world again. It just reminds, it reminds me of that. Like, I can't do this. I don't want to put my friends in danger. I'm going. Oh no!
Or
one scene.
Alternatively, I mean,
go on.
The other example is I was thinking about how in the Spider-Man 2, Peter stops being Spider-Man. He stops being Spider-Man for a long amount of time. Whereas in contrast, Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Andrew Garfield decides that he doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. And then in the very next scene, he watches like a speech of Emma Stone, and then he gets inspired and he becomes Spider-Man again. So yeah, basically. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So bad superhero films love the rushed.
Yeah, bad action movies or whatever. Yeah, it's just literally like, one scene later, literally she escapes, then she's in a bar in Mexico, and then she gets the pep talk, and then she's back at it. Like, come on, man, give me more than one scene.
More importantly, do you remember in The Simpsons where Marge and Ruth Powers run off together, and then Marge abandons Ruth Powers, and then she goes into the diner, and all her friends are like, whatever we go through, I'm glad we do it together. And then there's a bit where the waitress is like, I hate it when the waffles stick together. And the guy's like, sticking together is what good waffles do. That's basically, that was this film.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. And here's the thing, okay, so yeah. This Demi Moore character, Michael. Demi Moore character, she's behind it all. Where does she come from, by the way? Because
America.
Yeah, okay, because the girls, they know who she is, and she's established for like a minute earlier on at the scene. But I don't know, like I checked, she wasn't in the original TV show.
Oh yeah.
So I don't believe she was, because Demi Moore.
Maybe she was banging the producer.
She was too young. Okay, wow, that's a bit of a dark joke there, Michael.
Why not?
No,
hilarious.
Which producer did you mean?
Wait, I don't know who the producer was, to be honest.
Was
producer Bryan Singer?
Producer of the original series, or producer of this movie?
Oh no, I didn't mean the original series. That would be hilarious. So. Okay, it's good old Jeffrey Epstein rears his head again.
So yeah, like they reference the girls. Like she says, "Oh, I got shot at once." Oh, she says, "We only use Kevlar because I got shot at once on this job." It was like a Latin sounding job name. And the girls repeat this job back at her, like, da-da-da, we know. Do you remember that scene? All three of them do it.
I remember it. Yeah, I do remember that, basically, is the answer. Yeah.
But I can only remember her referencing that job once. So, I don't know. Like, it just seems like maybe there were scenes that were just cut out of this movie.
Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe she just said it very quietly in the background. Maybe, like, some characters are having a conversation, her head just pops into, like, the corner of the frame and goes, One time I was on a job in Guadalajara.
Yeah, and she isn't in the original movie. She wasn't in the original series because she would have been too young. I'm just going to assume that. Sorry if I'm wrong, but like Demi Moore was probably 40 around when this movie was. That would mean she would have been.
Demi Moore was born in 1962, and the original series. When was the original series? Like
76 to 81.
So 62. So 76. She would have been 14.
Yeah, but what if she was in like the 5th series?
Oh yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, 19. Yeah, it's too old for Jeffrey Epstein. But
why are you so obsessed with Jeffrey Epstein today? I mean, you should be obsessed with him every day. But
that's true, because he didn't kill himself, Luke. I have a radical theory.
The real conspiracy theorists are the one who thinks he commits suicide.
Yeah. Like crazy theory that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide.
Yeah, I know,
because he didn't want Prince Andrew to get in trouble.
Yeah, that's why he was so concerned about his friend in the palace, Prince Andrew. And I was like, you know what, I got to do it for the British royal family. I got to kill myself. I got to do that so people keep bashing Meghan Markle and not the pedophile instead. So yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein and we'll talk about Charlie's Angels. So here's the thing with Demi Moore. Obviously, I think she comes out of nowhere. Basically, the girls reference a job she's done, and they all talk about her. And like, it's like she wasn't even in any of these movies. She's hardly in this movie up until like the last 20 minutes. Anyway. I gave this movie, Michael, while I was watching it, a bit too much praise at one point.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a point where I gave this film some praise too.
Did you retract it a minute later?
No, actually, no. So
What was the praise? Was it about the plot?
So, well, mine's to do with actually the comedy. So,
Oh, right, okay. Well, I'll just mention this about the plot first, then we can finish, because this is what happened. So, obviously, Demi Moore, she's getting these 2 rings so she can sell it to some of the mobs, like the Yakuza, the Antonini crime family, and there's another one. What was it? Oh, the Irish people. And so, what she's doing then is she's coming to the top of this hotel to sell it to them. But it turns out that the FBI are there. And the FBI arrest all these gangs who are looking to buy this this information. So, big win then for the FBI. And I thought, because Demi Moore walks out onto the platform to see the FBI, because they've been directed to initially, I thought, well, she's set them up. So she's proved to Charlie that, hey, look what I've done. I've arrested all of these bad guys. I said before that I'm not good, I'm great. So she has an ego. Look what I've done on my own. All of these people have been arrested. Boom, would you look at that? Looks like I was right to give it a loan.
That would have been cool.
I am special. Again, yeah, I was like, have they done that? Oh, that's actually quite clever. I wasn't expecting that from this movie. Because the way she walks out onto the platform and overlooks it, I was like, yeah, she's set them up. She's the one who's done all this. And to prove that, yeah, she's actually, she's still a bad person. She's still the bad guy, but, she's just showing how, because obviously she murdered somebody, but she's showing that, she's really smart, she's really clever. But no, it turns out that the Angels somehow managed to work everything out and direct these Yakuza and crime families all the way up to this other hotel that she happened to be overlooking. And it turned out that, no, she did actually want to sell the rings to them. And she wasn't actually masterminding it all, which was a shame. Because I thought that'd be a good move. It'd be quite interesting, but no, it didn't turn out that way. So yeah, and then obviously they fight each other, and Charlie's Angels win. Wow, what a surprise! And that's it. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, just on the plot, just shit, just absolute shit.
Garbage.
Just it doesn't. I mean, here's the thing. It's not that interesting, but they could have at least tried to make it interesting. But they don't even try to make it interesting. They just skip onto one action scene after the other. And you don't really know what's happening most of the time. That's initially how I felt watching it. So yeah, that's it for the plot. Just shit. Shall we move on, Michael, now?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing about the action mostly. I mean, obviously, it's the same stupid stuff that was in the last film, like a lot of ridiculous CGI things, that even more ridiculous CGI things.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say is that the scene at the beginning where they're on the truck and 2 different people fire RPGs at them, so they drive the truck off the bridge, and then for some reason the helicopter is also falling. I don't really know why the helicopter's falling, but basically they jump out of the truck and then are able to jump into the helicopter as the helicopter is falling, and then all 4 of them are able to grab onto and get into the helicopter before it hits the bottom of the dam. It's the best thing ever. No, it's like, it was actually kind of the only thing in either of the 2 films, so this is kind of some credit, the only thing in either of the 2 films which I found so absolutely stupid.
Oh no, I've got to disagree with you on that.
Okay, that's your.
So here's the thing. Yeah, I think there wasn't anything in that first movie which made me think, oh, that's absolutely stupid. That's fucking ridiculous. That first scene with them jumping out of the helicopter, jumping out the truck into the helicopter. I was like, wow, this is the audacity to do something like this. I couldn't believe it. Maybe that is the most absurd action scene I've ever seen. Like, genuinely, I mean, there's been Fast and Furious ones, obviously. There was...
No, yeah, I think genuinely, I mean, yeah, like, people jumping out of a truck into a again, why does the helicopter start falling?
I just noticed the helicopter coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they jump out of a truck as it's falling off a dam, and then a helicopter falls past them, which they're unable to all jump into and pilot before it hits the ground.
Yeah,
brilliant.
I don't know, man. But there's other scenes where you said that's the only ridiculous thing. I got to disagree, because there's other scenes when they're on the dirt bikes and Cameron Diaz's bike gets shot and she flips up in the air and lands perfectly. She lands perfectly on, I think it's Lucy Liu's bike. So
yeah, the other scene I had written down actually was to do with the bike scene. I just wrote down that it was stupid, basically, so I didn't write down any
that whole
thing.
bike scene was so stupid. I couldn't, because they kept cutting. I couldn't really tell what was going on, to be honest. Because obviously they're in helmets and leather. I was like, wait, which one's which again? Then you have the fight on the cargo ship Again, the Irish people don't use guns. The fucking idiots.
yeah.
But bad Irish guy, O'Grady, he cuts the rope. Then, the Charlie's Angels, they fly up in the air. They come out of the ship. And then they use the bits of wood to surf down the rope that's tying to
I remember that too.
the ship to the pavement. I'm like, oh my god, like, what is that? None of this was in the first movie. And then on the I got to send you this picture, because I took this picture because I paused it at this particular point and I found it hilarious.
Okay.
They were on
Skype has been kind of weird about sending pictures for me, actually, so I hope it works for you.
I was going to send it on Facebook.
Okay, that's fine, yeah. I need to load up Facebook then.
This is hilarious. I really hope you find this funny. So basically, on the observatory, Drew Barrymore gets kicked by Demi Moore. It looks so fake. And then there's the bit when Demi Moore pulls out her guns, and all the girls flip away from Demi Moore's bullets, and it looks so awful. And I'm going to send you the picture of them now. Like, you can see, just have a look at that. Look at Lucy Liu and Drew Barrymore on the left and right.
That's so stupid looking.
They look like Christ, Christ on the cross with having their hands out.
They look like ragdolls.
They do. You got to put this in. I mean, I don't know if you can, but put that picture in when we're talking about this, because on the actual video, I don't know if you can, but that'd be nice. But yeah, I paused it at that exact moment, and that was I had to send you that. They look so funny. So and then at the end they're swinging on light bulbs away from the theatre. Remember that big explosion and the light.
Oh yeah, that's so stupid. Yeah,
like Tarzan,
like Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Tarzan.
Thin Man then at the end shows up for 2 seconds and kisses Drew Barrymore in a weird scene, and I don't know what the fuck was going on, where that was going, and the end fight. I think it took far too long in general, but. Overall, the action scene, big thumbs down for just the ridiculous nature of it. Just truly mind-boggling how stupid it was. Because if that's the thing, this movie that takes its action seriously, as in it's not that much of a comedy. Like when the before the fight, when Drew Barrymore is talking to O'Grady, it's like, okay, this is meant to be serious. You're not meant to be laughing. These are not absurd characters going at it. It's not like a Will Ferrell comedy. When it's like, okay, I can imagine something like this happening because just the absurdity of it, but it's not meant to be absurd. So when something like this happens, it's just a complete like eye roller, basically. So yeah, the action is just absolutely awful. So yeah, that's it. Do you want to talk about humour? Because I just got one thing to say.
I just wanted to say basically there was actually one scene which was supposed to make me laugh, which made me laugh. Actually, I want to say before that, Helen Zass is so stupid.
I didn't laugh at any. They had like 10 jokes of it.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh at one.
So I didn't laugh at that. What I did laugh at was when Matt LeBlanc was explaining to John Cleese how he thought that she was a prostitute, and then Lucy Liu gets home and she's like, me and Dylan and I can't remember the other one's name, we're a team. Today we took on 12 sailors. And like basically, he thinks like genuinely that. Like, that was the kind of thing I find funny. Nothing will ever be funnier than misunderstandings. And the other thing I just wanted to say about comedy is the dancing is so, like, ridiculous. Like, there's so much dancing in this film. It blew my mind. I was like, who's asking for this? Nobody, I hope.
No, I know the dancing is weird because obviously it happens in the first movie with Cameron Diaz. And then she does it in the second one.
It's, like, even more in this film.
It's just, like, really weird. Like, why? I don't get what it's there for. Why is Cameron Diaz dancing? Why are we looking at it?
Literally, like, I swear there's one scene where, like, this serious stuff is happening, and then it cuts to them, and they're just all dancing. I think it's when, like, they're dancing in their house. And it just, like, cuts to them dancing out of nowhere, and then just, like, why was that necessary?
I don't know, man. Like, the director wanted also to be a dance choreographer. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that was the case, but yeah, it's just so weird. But anyway, I just have... I guess a big point to say on the humour, it's not there's hardly any attempts at humour compared to the first one. So there was this interesting scene where Cameron Diaz and Luke Wilson, they're at their high school reunion, and they spent like 2 minutes there, and they're saying, because they're saying obviously that they're both mascots. They were both mascots at the school, and they're made for each other. And if you look, I don't know if you caught this, it looked like at the end of their conversation there was some guy who was about to walk up to them and talk to them about about everything, and presumably at Luke Wilson's time as a mascot or something like that. and I was waiting for it, and then they just cut away.
Yeah. I
Did you notice
didn't
that?
really notice that, but no, I mean, I kind of almost feel like I know what you're talking about, but...
Yeah, it was like a guy who's obviously part of the reunion about to come up to Luke Wilson and go, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" or something, and there was going to be some humour.
Yeah.
But no, they just cut away. And I was like, "What? That's really shoddy editing." Number one, and number two, like, why did they cut away? Because it was just a short scene, didn't add anything. Presumably that you could have done something with that scene, but no, it seemed with this movie they just were so lazy with everything. Like, okay, the plot, we're just going to sum it up in like 10 seconds, and then we're going to move on to an action scene, and we're not really going to have any humour in this at all. We're just going to have more action scenes, and yeah, it was just the humour I found was shit. I mean, you mentioned the Lucy Liu thing with I had 12 sailors or whatever, and like, oh, her dad thinks she's a prostitute, and it's an obvious joke, and I didn't find it funny, but there you go. I guess you always find misunderstandings funny, Michael. So
I do, yeah, because he thought she was a prostitute,
Yeah.
and then she said a bunch of things which were poorly worded, and she's literally like, "I'll give you a blow by blow of the whole thing," and then she said, "And then I had sex with lots of people for money." What a hilarious misunderstanding.
Oh god, yeah.
Anyway,
so that was the one major attempt at humour, and it failed basically. Like, this movie was just.
But yeah.
I mean, again, I wouldn't say the first one was funny. The first one was just, it kind of had a humorous tone about it. This one just didn't. This one was just awful. So yeah, I guess we could mention as well, using their sexuality to entrap men and get what they want. Like last time you mentioned,
Yeah, like they have the proper like cabaret thing,
Yeah.
like where you literally just have her bent over showing her ass.
they only did it once.
I
though.
loved it.
They only did it once though, compared to the first one, where I think they did
yeah.
it like 6 times. So
Yeah, but they only did it once, but they did it like way more intensely.
oh
So,
yeah.
It's like quality over quantity, I guess.
Okay, yeah. And I'm sorry to say, Michael, the feel-good car wash montage at the end, it couldn't save this movie.
Was that like during the credits?
Yeah, during the credits, yeah. They were all...
didn't like watch all of it, but yeah.
Yeah, they were doing a car wash, they were spraying each other with water. I think Drew Barrymore slapped Cameron Diaz on the arse, Just stuff like that. It wasn't good enough to save the movie, basically. Unfortunately. I mean, at least,
so sad.
again, it's not really relevant. Like, the pop punk one wasn't really relevant at the end of the first one. But, at least I realised when it was happening that the movie was at an end. So, that was good. So, yeah, that's it. Do you want to conclude now, Michael, unless you get anything else to say?
No, I don't have anything else to say. So yeah, this film isn't good. It's pretty boring. I didn't enjoy it. Honestly, I think it's right down there with the other film I found really boring, which was Any Given Sunday. And you know what? I mean, it's worse. I honestly think possibly this film is actually worse than I Feel Pretty. It might be, like, honestly, I don't even know if I think it was worse than 50 Shades of Grey and 50 Shades Darker. I think 50 Shades of Grey and 50 Shades Darker had more to them, but to be honest, I think I'd say 50 Shades of Grey had like more bad stuff in it, so I'll put them below I Feel Pretty and above 50 Shades Darker. So let's actually type that in. Charlie's. Yeah. All right, now you conclude. Do it, Luke.
Okay, so I think when I was watching this, and it was really towards the end of the movie, when Demi Moore and the 3 angels were fighting each other, I was like, this might be the worst movie we've ever reviewed. And I had thought that about Godzilla, and obviously I thought that about the 50 Shades movies and Daddy's Home, but I was like, this could actually be the worst. Because it is...
It's close to the worst for me.
It is I said before the first one, well, it's not that stupid and it's not offensively bad. This is that stupid. This is offensively bad. And I just the Roger Ebert review for this one is hilarious, considering what he said about the first one. He says it's what does he say? It's a highest... Oh no, sorry, that was Amy Dawes who said, bigger, sleeker and better than the first, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle is a joyride of a movie that takes the winning elements of the year 2000 hit to the next level. I disagree with that.
Great, yeah.
In 1,000 ways. This is an incredibly bad movie. The action scenes are ridiculous and boring. The whole plot's boring and it doesn't make sense, and they don't focus on it when they're meant to be detectives. Surely that would be some intrigue that you could focus on, the mystery of what's happening here, but no, you just skip over it. There's no attempt at humour, really, apart from that Lucy Liu joke about her being a prostitute. And yeah, I just think this is probably... The dialogue as well. Oh god, the dialogue is so bad in this movie. This might be the worst movie... This might be the worst movie I've done, but I don't think I can put it lower than 50 Shades of Grey and 50 Shades Darker. So this is going to be a 2 out of 10. from me. So this is joint worst movie we've ever done. I was debating whether to give it a 1.5 out of 10. But I can't go lower than 50 Shades because you remind me how bad that movie actually was. So yeah, I'm gonna put it as a 2. The Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, the worst movie we've ever done.
Yeah, so we basically placed it in the exact same place then. That was a bit. I just feel like I said the word place so much, but
so shall we watch the trailer for the new movie and then predict?
Yeah, let's watch a trailer for the new movie, like best friends. So we just watched the trailer for Charlie's Angels. Is it just called Charlie's Angels?
Yeah, just Charlie's Angels. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks so shit. Oh my! I mean, okay, I'll say this: it looks probably like there's not going to be as much of like the women are hot angle to it. I mean, there was like a bit where somebody I think smacked their ass with a riding crop.
Yes,
which is fine. I mean, it's a woman doing it, so I guess that's like okay. I don't think it's going to be like. Yes, it's it's not going to be over sexual. I don't think.
No, well, that's the big difference. I watched the trailer for the first 2. Just to see what they were about when I was deciding to review them. And the difference between that trailer and that is just night and day. Like they really play on the sexualization of the 3 main characters, the angels in the trailers, compared to there's all the shots of the angels not wearing any clothes are in the trailers. And in this one, it doesn't appear there are those scenes, so obviously they can put them in. But yeah, it seems like it's going to be a completely different movie in that regard in terms of the sexualization of them and how they're not going to use their basically it's not going to be jiggle TV as the original one was and the first 2 movies were. So yeah, Michael, with all that said, it just seems like quite serious actually. It seems like basically a James Bond movie just with 3 girls. I don't know, like just a standard action movie but just with 3 girls, and it's called Charlie's Angels.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's got the premise of the original TV show and the original movies, but that's about it. So where are you going to put this on the Rotten Tomatoes ranking, Michael? What is going to be your guess?
I mean, I don't think it's going to do very well. Shockingly, I don't think Sony is going to make a good film. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's probably not going to do terribly, but I think it's not going to do well at all, honestly. I'm thinking like 40.
40, wow. So I was going to go 60. So, yeah, we will have quite a big difference then.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to be like 3 out of 10. Like what? So
basically, if it's below 50, I win, and if it's above 50, you win.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be one of those movies which is just average, but that's it. Like people are like, it's fine. I watched it. Not like because that's the thing. 40 is even lower than Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, which got 43.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, I know it is. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be.
I like to think critics are more discerning nowadays.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we'll find that out in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So, Michael, can you tell us what we are doing next week?
No, but I can tell you what we are doing. No, I actually do need to.
We're doing another movie which empowers women.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to get it up. Okay. Next week, Luke, we are doing a classic, Frozen.
Frozen, yes.
To celebrate the release of Frozen 2, Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah. So, thank you. We have been selecting and reflecting on Charlie's Angels and Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. One movie which is, it's not the worst thing ever, but one of the movies which... Oh, the other one. Yes, it is the worst thing ever, unfortunately. So, yeah, join us next week for Frozen. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke, and thanks for listening, and I hope the audio is better this time, and goodbye.
Goodbye.